Alright, here we go again. And start at another part this time. Whoops. Yeah, like I said, I like to listen to Reddit whenever I do this, so I don't want to get copyrighted. Well, it'll distract anyways. Like I said before, I suck at this. So I think I'm gonna mostly work on the first drop. And as you see, I finally got the black trail. Because I suck at this more than I suck at the second part. Okay, so that means I can do it at 0.3 speed, which I imagine many people can do. So I'm gonna turn it up to 0.4. I can do the last bit in 0.5 speed. So I'm gonna go to the first drop and try that. This level is really unbalanced. That's why it's considered harder than Bloodbath. You know, on second thought, Maybe I should have started Cataclysm first, but I like this level more. And then next after this, I plan to try Carnage mode. I hate this mini wave part so much. But you know that eventually I'll get it now. Practice. Which is exactly what I'm doing here. Yeah, this part is like totally unbalanced. One part's like 3 blocks wide, and the next it's 1 block, then like 1.5 blocks. Like, it's just some weird wave parts. So in fact that 3 block open is a lot easier than 2 block open. 3 block open is stuff Insane Demons, and 2 block open is stuff of Top 250 Extremes. It's pretty different. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just thought I had Alright, so that means... Oh my god. Well, I know how to do that part, because I've done it before, as you've seen. So that means I cleared this one, so I'm going to move it up a little bit. Actually, you know what? I should probably get some more practice on this part. If I want to get better, then once I can do it easily in one attempt, then I will move it up. Not to mention, I should probably work on the first ship. I'll do it after this, though. You know, it seems a lot like it's just teleporting me there, so I might look at this really quick because it's off. It's just... Also, what happens... I know the other parts that they've seen it. You know what? Show hitboxes. I wonder if they'll teleport me or not. I'm just gonna no-clip this one. Yeah, it's teleporting me. Why? I mean, you could have just added portals. I know there are some D blocks here too. See? That was added there, but... What happens if I get rid of this? Clearly I don't need it. There we go. Yeah. It's just kind of a choke point. This is a huge choke point, so I'm getting rid of that. That didn't work. Also, that's bothering me down there. Damn it. You know what? I'm just gonna grab one of these really quick. Here it is. Here it is. Do this. Put it there, because that was bothering me. Here it is. I don't need that. Okay, so that worked. Okay, I got past it for once. This is hard. What happens if will it be easier if I do show layout? Let's see. Okay, so it looks like I just did that part regularly, which means I can continue, and we'll see if I end up getting to my next start position, because these are all parts I need to work on. Then, once I get it up to be able to do 0.4 speed completely, after that I'll start working on the first ship part. Because that part, I'm not doing good on it. There was another person last stream who told me to stop hacking, so I just wanted to check that really quick. I'm doing this so I can get better at this level, because if we go to the regular one, it is an extreme demon, which, like I said before, is a huge accomplishment to beat in Geo skill. Which, I've beaten one extreme demon, but that's a slow-paced one. I was originally going to do Dark Odyssey, but I think I need to be better at fast pace. I did beat Firewall, though, a while ago. did that on purpose. If I get 2 more runs in a row, I'll move it up to point 4. You know, I think I'm good with this first bit. Right here. So I might just do a start position. And let's see. It's a wave, it's at speed, it's a normal wave. Alright, done. I think it's safe to be able to bump it up to 0.4 now. I'm also gonna get rid of the start position because, yeah. Hopefully I get better at this part. Yeah. I think, yeah, like I said, once I bump this up to 0.5 speed, which is probably going to be like in the next 20 minutes, hopefully, then I'll move on to some of the parts in the beginning. But for now, just continue. Brain cramp. I haven't had a single bit of water today. Hold on. I think I should probably get something to drink. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I got a drink, and I'm ready to continue. Alright, that's another choke point for me. Those two timings, so I'm just gonna kind of skip this area, get right to there, and see if I can complete it. Sounds really disturbing, but so I can do those timings, which is kind of what you call stupid. Alright, I'm gonna go back to one of these. Which one? Which one? Which one? Which one? Which one do I want? How about this one? Or this one? You know what? I think we can go back up to 0.45 now. So something I did not expect from a level like this. Oh, wait, you know what? Never mind. I did not know there were D blocks there. Guess this isn't really a problem. So, this is a 1 block wide gap, I assume. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, I moved something. That's right. And then this, let's see here. What kind of gap is this? No. Okay. Okay, it's also slightly larger. It's like almost a 1.5 block gap. So, yeah, this is a big choke point for me. But I'm not gonna nerf it because then my completion wouldn't count. It would be worthless. It would have spent a lot of wasted time. But now I know that there were already D blocks there. You know what, let's check the chat. Also, that's kind of a problem. I know I could just slide on there, but it doesn't feel right. Giggity. That was a big giggity moment, wasn't it? That was a big, oh my god, that is sad. That is sad. Yikes. Let's try this. Yeah, that's just my stuff. Bitrate, okay, whatever. I don't know why I have a high-end computer. No, I have one, but it's just not working right. Whatever. Let's just do this. Okay, so I guess I can't exactly hold on that. But once I hit that area, I can just let go. Then you just have to go through that one. Yeah, this is hard. Giggity. I died there on purpose. I'm just doing this to make sure. By the way, if you think I'm not doing this legit, here are my clicks. But like I said, I listen to a lot of videos while doing this stuff. I really gotta get a new chair. Alright, you know what? If I get it enough on 0.5, then I will just go directly to the ship part, and let's start that one at 0.3, just like I did with this wave part, as I slowly got better. Let's hope this works. I want at least 5 good attempts. Doesn't matter if it's in a row, just 5 good attempts. By good, I mean passing this obnoxious wave part. There we go. Alright, so I did 1 good attempt. That means 4 more good attempts. And also I'm going to try and get past this one too. See if I can do it. Because, like I said, I do want to beat this level. Three more good attempts. Does that count? I mean, I almost did it. Doesn't, you know what? No. No, it doesn't count. So, how about... yeah, I won't count that one, so still 3 more. More good attempts. Alright, so that means one more good set. You want two for good measure. So that means one more. This time one more, then I'll go to the ship at 0.3. There we go! Half speed. I did not expect to actually get that, but it means I'm improving. Good job, me. How about... Wait. Hold on a second, I have to Google something. I have to... Well, not Google, but... Yeah. Yep. There we go. Potentially fails to complete... Okay. Guess it's called a section attempt. I'm not really sure. But what I do know is that I want to clear these areas so I can eventually do a full run, no clip at 0.5 speed, then start increasing it up and up and up until eventually I could do it at full speed, and that will be when I beat 10th Circle. Then my next one will be Carnage Mode, or Dark Odyssey, or what else? Or Cataclysm. Perhaps Bloodbath. We'll see. Honestly, I do like this level. Always have, always will. Then eventually Sakup in Hell. Then I just start climbing up Extreme Demons, and then hopefully eventually I could get some list points. But that's not gonna happen for a while. This list is ridiculous. You know what? Let me show you something. See, I've been playing since 1.9, which specifically since Cataclysm was the hardest. But back then, I was just a 3-year-old. And when I really started taking this seriously was around this area. But I did first get an account here, then I became obsessed with Geometry Dash, then started making all that content. Somewhere around here, and at this moment, Sonic Wave wasn't there. Sonic Wave was at number 69, giggity. Oh my god. Yeah, Crystal and Glowy were still on the list. Glowy is an old level. Now, Sonic Wave nowadays, 200 fucking 43! You see how ridiculous this list is now? This level was once top 1. Oh, damn. Ah, screw it. It's not even that low. So that means 2 more of these and I'll go up to 0.35. You know what, I'm just gonna check something real quick. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, I want this ultra low detail, which is, in fact, in this level. Mega low detail mode it's called, but I just did this. Same type that I got last stream. I wonder how long I've been streaming for. I've been streaming for somewhere around 45 minutes. So I'm gonna keep streaming. It is currently 2:46 Eastern Standard Time, so I'm probably gonna stream until somewhere around 5. Then I'll continue practicing naturally off stream. Then maybe even later tonight I'll keep streaming. And tomorrow, because I did have a 3-day weekend. And then Monday, well, I might not be able to stream on Monday. Then I'll continue to stream throughout the day, well, throughout the week. And hopefully I get better. So I'm going to do this I'm going to stream after doing my homework every day I get back from school. was way more than I thought I would. I did that on purpose. I think it's safe to say I can go up again. And after this, I'll probably take a quick break once I get up to 0.5. Mostly because I have something to do. And it won't take that long. So I'll just briefly stop streaming. Well, it honestly depends. I'll actually have... Wait, no, I don't have anything to do, but... I might just want to take a break. Alright. Trying to get to 0.5. Damn, I haven't died to that part in a while. Well, I mean, it shows I need more practice, but I'll do that once again after my break. After this part, I have a lot planned with this level. Damn. By the way, I think that I'm going to do one more of these attempts where I get to the wave, because I'm practicing both the ship and the ball part here, which the ball part is much easier. But it's nice to practice both. Then we'll go up to 0.4, then 0.45, then 0.5. So here's... Wonder why people do drop attempts. Well, you know what? I'm going to look that up again. Sure. I meant drop attempts, not drop attempts. Not like that made any sense. Alright. I'm gonna do 2 more of these runs, actually. Well, depends how long it takes to get to the first wave again. Well, it's time. Increasing the speed. I keep doing this, eventually you'll get better. Which I actually am getting better at this now. Feels like 9 circles on LSD. Just realized that. This level is really, really trippy. In my opinion. God, I have not moved a lot. That's why I'm stretching so much. Alright, I'm gonna do like 4 more attempts. Sounds good. I might watch some Matt Bark documentaries though. Damn. Alright, you know what? One more. Just, I'm gonna do one more, then I'm gonna increase it to 0.45. Damn, I clicked again by accident. I'm gonna look up if it's a good idea to practice the way I do. Yeah, that's okay. I'm just gonna, since it doesn't give a good answer, maybe I just invented a new way of practicing. Probably not. Maybe probably someone's done it before. By the way, I use AnyDesk to collab with my friend. One more, because the last one wasn't successful. Damn. You know what? Because I just did a round of bad attempts, string them, I think I'm just gonna do another attempt, just make sure it's good, and then I'll increase the speed. course I have to crack this knuckle. Okay. You know what, for a quick second I'm going to try and do this part again and see if I can still do it. And then I'm going to increase the speed on the ship. Alright, done. So now it's time to increase the speed. Let's try this. Hope it works. Damn. Well, that's more than I expected to get, so I'm gonna do like 4 more of these sectional attempts, then I'm gonna go up to half speed, and then I'm gonna continue, actually, what do I want to do? I'm gonna take a break, then I'll work on the end wave, well, the end part, from 0.3, and then slowly go up to 0.5, and then I'll just start going up there. I already mastered the first cube because that part's pretty easy. It's just a couple of timings. Okay, I did that death on purpose. I really could have gotten to the jewel wave. But that's not important right now. What's important is that I do my 3 more attempts, and I go to 0.5 speed. Then I will be done. I'm gonna go to, actually, I'll go to the next wave part. It's after this one. 2 more attempts. That means 1 more attempt. I just held on a little long for there, so that means I can do it. But I think I'm just gonna detour a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go play Death Gun. Okay, that was embarrassing. That means I'm not gonna play it anymore because that level's way too long. What? Okay, I'm not gonna count that as a successful attempt then. Damn. Well, I still got past the part I was practicing. So that means 4 more attempts, then I'm going to take a break and I'm going to retry Death Moon. 3 more attempts. Two more. Alright, that means 2 more attempts. Okay, so that means I did do it again, so that means 1 more attempt. 1 more attempt after this, or I'll probably go with 1 more attempt after this. 1 extra practice. Then we'll take a break to an easier level. One more attempt. Alright. Now that's done. I just improved my skill quite a bit because before I couldn't even do half speed. Which means I'm gonna take a break. Playing Deathbed. working on this level. Back at the beginning of my channel, and then I beat it in May 2022 on my sister's birthday. That's cool, huh? We have the same birth month. That's cool. You know, this is a beautiful level. Right. I think I'm gonna do the first wave now from 0.3 to 0.5. And I'll set up a new start position. Right, like I said, the first wave, so I'm gonna count that one as a success, so 4 more attempts and I'll go up the speed. Two more. Damn. So that means one more attempt. You know what? I'll do 2 more attempts, so 1 attempt after this. Just to play it safe. Then I'll work on this dual area. Then I think we'll be done for today. Alright. I actually think that I think I can up the speed now. But I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick. I'll be right back. Alright, as you can see, that was a really late timing. I almost died there. But I don't have no clip on. Because if I did, it would be all blacked out. Then that would appear up there. But it doesn't. Damn. That was good. Anyways, I'm gonna do, once again, 4 more of these. Then I'll go up to 0.4, then so on until I hit 0.5. I still passed it, so then after all of that until I get to 0.5, I'm going to go put a start position at the ship part right there. Then I'll work on the Joule till I can do it at 0.5. Which will probably take a lot longer because of that stupid timing. But we'll see. Two more. Two more, and then, yeah. Then I'll increase the speed again. And also, I think I got the duel down decent. But I think I'm just gonna start dying after that first wave now. One more. Alright, I'm gonna do 0.4 now. Four more, naturally. I don't think I need to keep saying this. 5 successful attempts, and then I'll, for each of these, and then I'll be done. Okay, so that's a swag root. I got it. I think I might use that. And I did. You know what? I think I could just skip directly to 0.45 now. I'll do 3 for this one. Okay, that just immediately proved me wrong. I'm gonna do 2 more successful attempts on 0.4 then. Alright. I think now I'm going to try and do 0.45. Four more. Damn. Okay, so... Three more. In that dual mini wave, I always look at the top wave because it's easier to see. Two more. One more. Ugh, stretch. I'm gonna check my shit again. Because why not? No one watching. Isn't that great? Damn! It's been an hour and 45 minutes. Jeez. That's crazy. Alright, so... Okay, that's not good. Okay, it's slowly going down. That means I am gonna have to end my stream soon. I'll do it after the dual part, after this one more time. Well, not one more time. Well, yeah, more like 5 more times. Alright, here we go. 5, 0.5. Let's see how this goes. So 5 runs successfully. Alright, so that means 4 more. Damn. Somehow I missed the pink orb. So, alright. Well, I still got past the wave part. So that means... Man, I'm not doing good at math today. I think it's 3 more. Yeah, 3 more. That sucks. 2 more. One more. Okay. I. So that means that I have. Alright. Means I'm gonna restart position. So I can see it. There we go. It's cool. Let's try that. You know what? Actually, for the most part, I did that part. So, here it is. Just there. And I'm going to do 0.3. And then here we go. 5 of them. Fuck! Man, actually, the decoration isn't even that distracting here, so I'll just show the layout. Right, here we go. Yeah, you know what? I think the thing that I'm having the most problem here with is this one. There we go. What was it again? Okay, so it was at... Wait, my bad. My bad. That's what I meant to do. Alright. There we go. You know what, just to make sure that it works, that I didn't set the wrong speed, I'm just gonna no-clip run really quick because I don't feel like doing this beginning part. Whoops. Alright, here we go. 5 attempts. Alright, so my main problem there is that ship part, so I'll try again. Alright, so that means 4 more. One more. Okay, so that means I can do this now. Let's see if it works. Four more. Three more. $2,000. I meant 2. One more. Okay, so now that means 0.4 times. Then 5 runs. Alright, 4 more. Three more. Two more. One more. Alright, now it means I can go up to 0.45. It's going kind of fast. Almost there. Four more. Three more. Two more. One more. Alright, so now it's that, which means 5 more attempts, and then I'm gonna have to end this stream. Four more. Okay, so at this moment it would be 2 times speed that I'd be doing this, which means 3 more attempts. Two more. One more. You know what? Let's just do one more for good measure.
Всем спасибо за просмотр. С вами был Елисей. И до свидания.
Alright, so that is all the practice for today. Well, not exactly today. I'm probably gonna stream later. Like at somewhere around